As a kid, I was a pretty big beat 'em up fan. I'd say I owe that a lot to Double Dragon. It's because of it that games like Final Fight and Streets of Rage were made. But the genre has been pretty quiet for a couple of years now, despite a few slipping through the cracks here and there. You know, games like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World and the fantastic Double Dragon Neon. The Virtual Console helped me play some of the games that I missed out as a kid, but one game has eluded me for years now. Super Double Dragon by Technos. All the way from seeing it on the cover of EGM on vacation when I was probably 14 years old, to recently at MagFest. And I decided to finally hunt it down and play it for real. My search led me to some interesting tidbits about Super Double Dragon that I had never had any idea about. The first, that it was called Return of Double Dragon in Japan, and secondly, that version had several tweaks to the gameplay. These range from slightly different combos between the brothers, various health levels of enemies, allowing a difficulty and continue select, and having the story removed almost entirely. It seems the US version was rushed to release for whatever reason, and Technos was able to go back and work on the game a bit more, resulting in what most people that have played both to be the superior game. So I decided to track that version down instead of the US version. Right out of the gate, I was immediately unimpressed. That Double Dragon theme music that I love so much did not sound good coming out of the usually amazing Super NES sound chip. Overall, this sounds totally flat and boring. It's very possible that I've been forever spoiled because of Jake Kaufman's perfect rendition in Double Dragon Neon. I'd argue that even the NES version sounds better. I think Return of Double Dragon's goal, to differentiate its gameplay from the pack of other brawlers at the time, is kinda what saves it a little bit. Instead of going from the grappling focus that was standardized in Final Fight, Double Dragon introduces a block and counter mechanic. If you hit B as soon as an enemy throws a punch, you catch their arm and you can do what you will with them. The focus on defense slows down the pace quite a bit and justifies the game's slower overall movement speed. Punching and kicking are standard. I mean, what kind of brawler would it be without these? If you hold the shoulder button and combine that with the press of the attack button, you get a couple of higher powered attacks. And if you manage to let your dragon power make it to the halfway point without taking a hit, you get to do this. I wonder what this is inspired by. Maxing out your power lets you go into Hulk mode, where you can knock down your enemies with one hit. This is good for crowd control, but it almost feels like you do more damage with regular combos than you do when you're in this mode. Remember when I mentioned the slower overall movement speed? Return of Double Dragon is slow. Actually, it's kind of annoyingly slow until you adjust to it. Compared to its peers at the time, everything feels choppy, like there's almost something wrong with it. I was kind of shocked because I've gotten accustomed to the faster pace of, like every single brawler ever. Graphically, we got a pretty mixed bag here. Return of Double Dragon starts out strong in the streets of Las Vegas and continues to kind of get worse and worse. In fact, I go as far as to say that there's nothing here that is particularly impressive. Enemy variety is pretty limited, about 5 or 6 types overall, with one enemy even being a palette swap of the main characters. It just feels super lazy. I think with the removal of any kind of story from the US version makes the game kind of feel incomplete. I can't see how much there even is in that version, but the levels here end abruptly and you weren't even sure you were facing a boss. There's no change in music or anything. It's weird, during the last level you can even jump on the walls with spikes. Not even enemies take damage if you knock them into it. You think they just forgot to do anything about this? Apparently one of the areas that they changed from the US version was adding some significant length to the last level, which might have been overkill because as far as I can tell, the last level is about as long as every other level combined. And once you beat it, nothing. Just a credit roll. Damn. After years of intrigue, finally playing Return of Double Dragon proved to be disappointing. I'm not saying that it's bad, it's just not that good for much beyond a playthrough or two. And there's lots of other games just like it that you've already played, and you should really just go and play those again.